In the early years of NASCAR, relief drivers were a common thing. Even Hall of Fame drivers like Richard Petty, Junior Johnson, and David Pearson used relief drivers back in the day. The main reason for this was there just wasn't technology in the cars like there is nowadays to make a driver comfortable. A lot of drivers' bodies would just wear out until they couldn't drive anymore. As technology progressed in stock cars, the need for relief drivers grew weaker and weaker, and nowadays it is super rare to see someone switch with a relief driver. One of the most popular instances of a relief driver was when Dale Jr. drove Kyle Busch's number 5 in the 2007 Samsung 500 after a crash that involved both drivers and resulted in Busch leaving the track. But what if I told you that a similar thing occurred 3 years earlier in the 2004 Sharpie 500? Yes, the title is correct. This is about the time Kyle Petty relieved for Kevin Harvick. Kevin Harvick's 2004 season up to this point was mediocre at best. He was sitting 8th in points entering this race, but had accumulated only 3 top 5s, 9 top 10s, and 69 laps led. Kyle Petty's season was even worse, entering the Bristol weekend 31st in points, with no top 5s or top 10s to his name. So both of these guys were non-factors pretty much the whole season, but Harvick still had hope because his previous 6 starts at Bristol, he finished in the top 10 in every race and finished 3rd here in the first Bristol race earlier in the year. When the race finally came around, neither driver qualified well. Harvick qualified 21st with his brand new Realtree scheme, and Petty qualified 31st. Early in the race, it was apparent the guys to beat were Jeff Gordon, Rusty Wallace, and Dale Jr. Harvick couldn't make much ground, and by lap 150, he was running around 15th. Kyle Petty, meanwhile, was involved in a lap 90 crash and had to go to the garage for repairs.
Low trouble front stretch. Brendan gone, Tony Raines,
Kyle Petty,
and Kyle Petty.
Man, see, they were only running half speed, and look at all the damage to Brendan's car.
Well, half speed would still be 50 miles an hour, right?
there's going to be plenty of real estate to race on if they keep doing this.
Well, there is.
So yellow flag number 5.
Somebody check. Well, let's see. Normally somebody checks up on a restart, and that's what happens. It looks like what happened.
Very good, Wally. Crunch, clunk.
A lot of damage to the 99 and 49, looks to me like.
17 couldn't get going. The 99 checked up. The 77 didn't. Chain reaction.
Petty tried to come back on track and make laps, but he couldn't make it and would complete 150 laps before retiring due to crash damage. By lap 300, Harvick was still running just inside the top 20, but he started to fall back because his arms were going to sleep, and obviously it would be hard to steer a car at Bristol with your arms asleep. It also didn't help that this was happening during a 200-lap green flag run, so if he were to pit, he would lose so many laps it would end his night. Because of this, his team started to look for a relief driver, and Kyle Petty, who was still at the track, even though he wrecked out, agreed to swap out with Kevin. When a caution finally came out on lap 328, Harvick decided he would try and tough it out, so his team gave him a little padding for his left arm and he continued the race. The cause for Harvick's left arm going numb was a mixture of him being dehydrated and his seatbelt was digging into his bicep, so his arm was going numb. He made it around 30 more laps before Harvick finally called it quits and swapped with Petty.
Jimmy Johnson and Dale Jarrett did not stop Kevin Harvick coming down to attention of his pit.
And once again, Kyle Petty, whose 45 car is out of this race, wrecked earlier, has been called to replace Kevin in the cockpit. They're about the same size height, while Kyle may be a little bit taller, and hopefully able to overcome that right shoulder situation that Kevin was having. Get his right arm falling asleep. They know they have to get someone in there, so they'll pull Kevin out, and they'll put Kyle Petty in the 29 car.
And they're going to lose at least a couple of laps making this driver change, at least one, getting Kyle strapped in as the pace car is almost around to them now.
And this is they're going to take a hit in points because of this.
So big turn there for some of the drivers in the race to the chase in the late stages here at Bristol tonight. Relief drivers used to be not an uncommon thing here at Bristol, right? BP?
Oh, no. I came here with John A. Esman about every time I came in the 70s. I finally figured out how to hold my head up, and it was okay after that. But
you actually won a race with a relief driver here, right?
Yeah. John A. and I won the race by 7 laps.
So Harvick getting attention for the numb left arm. And Kyle Petty still strapping aboard that 29 machine.
The weird thing about this swap is, unlike the Texas 2007 situation where both Junior and Busch were Chevy drivers, Petty was a Dodge driver and Harvick was a Chevy driver, so it was a breach of contract. Petty would complete the remaining 150 laps and finish 24th, 6 laps down. Surprisingly, Harvick still remained 8th in points and still had a chance to make the 10-man chase. Unfortunately, he had another bad race in the following week at Fontana, finishing 28th and fell to 14th in points. He ended up missing the chase. Kyle Petty continued to run like shit and finished the season 33rd in points. Like I mentioned earlier how it was weird Petty was a Dodge driver but relieving for a Chevy driver, Dodge ended up fining Kyle $45,000 for a breach in contract since he didn't have permission from Dodge to drive a Chevy. Kyle's response was, quote, "Kevin was sick. Kevin felt bad, so I drove the car. When I got a phone call and a legal letter that said that I owed them $45,000, that was a little bit of a shock, but at the same time, they were exactly right. I have a contract to drive for Dodge." Now, this didn't sever Petty's relationship because he ended up driving for Dodge for 4 more years until he retired in 2008. This was also the only time Harvick ever needed a relief driver for a race. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm going to try to, 2022 is going to be the year where I try to roll out more videos. And I'm just going to do everything that I can think of that's Kevin Harvick related. If you have any ideas or any videos that you want, put it down in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, leave a like. And if you want to subscribe for more Harvick content, then the button's down there, subscribe. Anyway, peace out.